Countess Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the various campaign settings of Dungeons & Dragons, dating back to Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, and of course, where I started with, Spelljammer, Dungeons & Dragons adventures in space. So, let's talk about ships. Purchasing them, gaining them. Well, we have to start talking about their hulls. The fact is, most ships come in a wide variety of standard forms. These ships can either be basically captured, refurbished, or inherited. Many large communities will design their own ships, which they will use for themselves. They may, in fact, be copied by other people, or they could sell them to various groups. Despite the variety that is out there in space of ships, there are a number of typical forms. Now, the information provided in the book I've been talking about basically gives a wide variety of the typical types of ships that you could have access to and ship accessories. You have to think of it this way. If you're looking for a used ship, if you can find a place that has used ships, usually it's got one or two at any time. This is not a market that truly exists out there. It is on the fringes of everything. If you are looking for a ship and you manage to reach some kind of port, depending on the ship you want, you will have a 10% chance of a ship being there that could possibly be for sale. I'm not saying it will be for sale. Depending on the circumstances, you might be able to get it. If you're looking for someone that's willing to sell a ship, you have a 20% chance of finding them by rumor, or if you spend more time there, a cumulative increase of 5% for each week you spend listening to rumors. And that might tell you that it's somewhere else nearby that you could possibly find this guy selling this type of thing that you're looking for, whether ship or ship accessory. Now, the book, again, provides a wide variety of the common ship types, the common hull types, but the DM could come up with anything they really wanted to. And this is a price. Some of them are even growling ships that have been converted to being spaceships. Starting characters are probably going to be having something closer to that, basically a brick in space that's not going to travel very efficiently, going to have terrible maneuver, and any spacefaring traveler worth their salt would not take it in a million years. Now, it is also important to note that gold is the price listed here, and it's assuming a gold standard. But other places might have other standards. You will have to worry about converting money in order to figure out the standard of the location you're traveling to. This also does not assume crew and does not assume armaments. These are two things that are left off. This is just the hull, the main portion of it that you're just using to base. You don't have any other things associated with it. You don't have a helm, you don't have a crew, you don't have weapons. These are things you're going to have to purchase separately onto this. Right now, we're just buying the hull. Now, of course, speaking of helms, they are the main way to travel within space. The fact is, the more tonnage a ship has, the less maneuverable it will be. You might have some kind of giant asteroid converted to a ship, but a helm will only move it so fast. The larger it is, the slower it goes, the less speed and power it can get. The conversion just doesn't work when you get up into the insanely sized buildings, the insanely sized ships. You need a certain standard in order to keep up the power of these helms. Now, there's a number of ways you could acquire a helm. You could find one in some kind of ruins hidden deep below. You could capture one from someone. You could get some kind of incredibly powerful wizard to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort in order to create one themselves. It would be like their life's work, and now you're taking it out for a spin. Or you could go the easiest route and purchase one from the arcane. Well, easy that they're easy to find, difficult that it costs a lot of money. But the arcane, they're pretty much just built to, well, sell helms. So there you go. Fairly easy to get one from one of them. Now, I have talked about major and minor helms and using them. The fact that you have to be a spellcaster. The more powerful the spellcaster you are, the more SR or spelljamming rating you get. That it converts the magical energy to momentum and to a degree maneuverability. And that once you've basically sat in the chair, you lose your spellcasting for the day until you rest up and regain it. This is the basics I've talked about before. But we can talk more in depth what all of this means. So, when I, as a spellcaster, regardless of my power, because when we've said, the more powerful you are, the more powerful the user's rating is. Also depending on if it's minor or major helm. Also depending on if it's minor or major helm. Regardless, I've sat in the chair. I form a link with that helm. This link siphons off the energy of my spells to the helm. This link is active at any range, and it lasts until I go for a long rest. At that point, the link is broken, and I can once again regain my spells, regain the use of my spells. The thing about this is this link, though it exists, and this energy is transferred between us, I cannot activate and use the ship as if I am piloting it unless I am in contact with that helm. Unless I am sitting in that chair, contact with that, this ship will not move, regardless if I have a link with this ship through the spelljamming helm. This is actually one of the most mysterious things about spelljamming helms that no one has been able to answer. Why this link, it exists, that you have it, but you cannot control it, even if you're linked together, unless you are in physical contact. You create a link that does this, that drains your energy like this, but you can't pilot it still. It's so mysterious. Now, a normal spellcaster can pilot a helm for about 12 hours without... After that point in time, they basically have begun to exhaust themselves. You can choose to push yourself longer than 12 hours, but for every hour after that, your SR rating drops by 1 to a minimum of 1. You cannot go more than 24 hours. If you hit 24 hours, you fall unconscious, and you are unconscious until you rest up, regain your spells, you've broken the link, you're no longer connected with it. At that point in time, you can begin to spell jam once again. But that's it for today. I first talk about hulls of ships. Now, this seems like such an innocuous thing, but this is actually a critical thing to have. The ship's hull is a major component of it. It's where you store your people, where you store your equipment, where everything is mounted to, where everybody hangs on. The hull tends to be cheap. It tends to be cheaper for something like a groundling vessel, much cheaper than what a space vessel would be. But when we talk about it, you have to consider where you're getting it. There are a variety of ways I talked about you can get it. After that, you have to worry about everything else on it. Your crew, who's controlling it, the armaments, weapons you're fighting, and of course, the helm, the power source. Now, we've talked about that there are other types of helms and power sources out there, but just the basics of the helm, you're going to need to purchase it and gain it somehow. Once you have it, we did talk a little more about how it's used. We talked about what it really means to use it. We've talked about that basics before, but I've gone into the details now of what it means to actually be linked to a spelljamming helm, and the mysteries surrounding that link and using the helm. In the next episode, we're going to dive into helms a little more, because there's more information based around this fact that we have to go over. We've gone over those basics of what the helm means. We're talking about a lot more now, because there's just things that we have to discuss about this that are important for you to know about. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows for the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon. Link description below. There's some great rewards there. It helps to grow and improve the channel. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.